Today I'm going to show you how I'm doing 110 steering on my full size swap on a Jeep YJ. Although it's really the same with pretty much any Jeep. So to start, got the axles in. The only thing I've done to modify this axle is I had to get a flat top for the passenger side. It was a top down, so you put the tie rod in from the top down. So I had it drilled out and got a sleeve, that way I can put the tie rod in the bottom. And I'm gonna run the drag link on the knuckle down low. I originally was going to do full high steer, but I decided just to go regular. So I had to buy the high steer flat top knuckle piece. This is from WFO Customs, but lots of places make them. And that's just going to go from the knuckle to the original steering box. You can use your stock arm, but I ended up just buying one. This is the original. I ended up just buying one that had been drilled out or tapered to fit a GM tie rod. I bought these parts originally when I was going to do high steer, so you can do them a little different, but I have two ES 2234Rs. R is for the right hand thread, and ES 2010L left hand thread. And this is from WFO Customs as well. This is that ES 2233 left modified. What's modified about it is that hole right there has been tapered to fit a GM tie rod, and that was to do high steer. So that would go into that knuckle piece, and then the tie rod would go through here and up to the actual steering. So I'm just going to use it anyways because it was expensive and it's too far to return. I bought these from Rough Stuff Industries, and they're just a DOM tube insert, left and right hand thread. And those are going to go on this DOM tube. I don't have the exact size right now. I'll put it in the description though. But I just got that from a metal shop down the road. Should be pretty simple. I'm going to throw them all in. Throw the tube inserts in where I want them to be, enough to go left, right, and measure and go ahead and cut that DOM. I'm going to splice this in. I haven't done a video in a few months. It's been hectic. Here's my steering completed. Got the drag link underneath. It's turned out pretty well. It steers just fine. I've got a little bump steer, so eventually I'd like to add on a steering stabilizer, see if I can't get rid of some of that, but it's not a DD, so it's not really my #1 priority as far as drivability stuff goes. So I've just used all the GM tie rods along with the lock nut and those tube inserts I talked about. I beveled the DOM tube to get a nice weld on. Don't judge the welds. I'm working with welder from the 80s because I'm a cheap But she's turned out pretty well. And I'll give you all an update on how this thing's doing soon. Here's an update on the Jeep. So I've got the motor and trans bolted together and in. Motor's all bolted up. Transmission had holding up with a floor jack. Although now it's just the engine hoist actually holding this up. I just have it wrapped around a chain. And I use that just to hold it in place to fab up a cross member. I ended up, what I did is not necessarily the greatest, but it'll work for now. Because I'm trying to get, there's an event called BMR up in Disney, Oklahoma. And let's see, what day is it? 12th? A month and a week. So about 5 weeks away. So this thing's gonna be running, driving. We'll see. So what I did was I ended up using the stock Chevy crossmember, and then I just made these to bolt up using a hole saw and then notching it to go around the little bungs that are welded into the frame. And it just so happened to be 4 or just over 2 inches down from there. So I just used some scrap 1x2 that I had laying around. So I made a crossmember out of just random crap I had laying around. So it's not pretty, but it'll work for now. I know they make mounts to go off the rear cover of the 205. I'll probably do something like that in the future. But I'm looking at getting a Magnum underdrive from Off-Road Design. That way I can also clock the 205. If not, I definitely want to put a clocking ring on. So, but I'm just going to bolt it in. Other than that, at this point, it's just going to be start bolting stuff on. Ended up having to get new headers, but I'll do a video on that later.